Um, with that advice, uh, to take the attention to the body, he is uh, giving instructions how you can be mindful of the body. So we have discussed that bit more in detail in the last couple of sessions. What we are to discuss today is, I will just read this out for you. Usually Chatu is doing it for me. He's absent today. He told me he won't be able to come. And what he says is, here a monk, having gone to the forest, or to a foot of a tree, or to an empty room, sits down cross-legged, keeps body upright, and keeping his awareness in the four. With his awareness, he breathes in. With his awareness, he breathes out. And that is the first thing he said. With his awareness, he breathes in. With his awareness, he breathes out. Although he is just giving this in two sentences or two lines, it is not happening that way. You know, when you sit down, we can't do the way the Blessed One is saying. We have a monkey mind. That monkey mind is playing hell in our mind when we try to bring the attention to the breath. So it is not happening, although he is giving in two lines. You can't just sit and be aware of the breathing in and breathing out. There are people who are able to do it. There are skillful people, they will be able to do it. But most of us, it is difficult, right? But what we do is, even when we have such a dramatic mind, we won't give up. We just keep sitting without changing the posture, but by bearing up anything that we can bear, maybe the thoughts, maybe the sound, maybe the aches and pains that we have, we just bear them up and just keep on sitting and keep on trying our level best to bring our attention to whatever that we feel. And what happens to this monkey mind is, since we are not giving up, monkey will be fed up. Once the monkey is fed up, it will quietly reduce his activities. He will be so tired, and naturally our attention will be coming from the distraction, from the thoughts, from the sounds, from the aches and pains to our body. So when the mind comes to our body, then what we will usually notice in the body is the respiration. So when we notice the respiration, if we just see one in breath and if you just see one out breath, that is when you get that positive energy, that is when you get that positive attitude. This is something possible and this is something happening. Then only you will have, with his awareness, he is breathing in. With his awareness, he is breathing out. Bethlehem is just giving two lines. It is not explaining the things that are happening in the background. He's taking those things later, but not now. He says, with the awareness, you breathe in. With the awareness, you breathe out. And what actually happens there is, it's like wild buffalo bringing from the wild and tie it onto a tree or a pole in the village. And buffalo will try as much as possible with his full strength to break the rope and go back to the jungle, go back to the forest. But if your rope is so strong, you won't be able to break and go. And he will do all the tricks in the books to do that. But finally what happens is, he will go around the tree or go around the pole, and he will just quietly fall down there itself and sleep. So like that, our mind also will try to take our attention as much as possible away from the body, but it will be fed up since you are not giving up. Mind is not so strong. If you don't give up, if you have the determination, it will naturally come up. Only thing is, you should not fight with the distraction to bring the mind. And if you don't fight, if you just let it do whatever it wants to do and you just keep still, it will come back. Not immediately, it may take some time, but it will come back. So when it comes back, then you will see with this awareness, breathing in and breathing out. So up to that point we discussed last time. So now this week what we have got to take is with this awareness, he breathes out, breathing in a deep breath. He understands properly breathing in a deep breath, and understand breathing out deep breath. He understands properly, I am breathing out a deep breath. Breathing in a shallow breath, he understands properly, I am breathing in a shallow breath. Breathing out a shallow breath, he understands properly, I am breathing out a shallow breath. Right? So that is the second explanation of the Blessed One of this breathing mindfulness, or mindfulness on the sitting posture. What happens there is, when you keep your attention, when you have your awareness to breathing in and breathing out, and when you have seen just one breath, you start seeing more details of it. Now, in the instructions, what we usually say is, try to understand as much information, or try to gather as much information as possible. Right? So when you start gathering information, you see at the beginning, when you see your breath is long, right? Because you require a lot of energy to see the breath, right? So because of that energy requirement of the body to bring your attention, you see you are breathing in long, and you have been fighting to a certain extent to bring the mind back to the breath and all that. So some energy is being used. So for that reason, you can see the first few breaths, or the breaths that you see at the beginning of the noticing observation, is you have long breaths, right? So when you have long breaths, you don't try to change it. You just observe as it is. That is an additional information that you can observe in breathing in. And at the same time, if you have out breath long, you understand that there is an out breath. And some other additional information that is not mentioned here, some people can observe that this in breath is happening only from one nostril, and out breath is happening from the other nostril. Or some people are observing this long in breath is happening only in one breath, one nostril, and even the out breath from the same nostril. And some people are observing the in breath and out breath is happening from both the nostrils, right? Or if you are observing the tummy, you can see the tummy is inflating much larger and deflating very deep when long in breath is happening, long out breath is happening, right? But if you keep on observing the same thing for some time without looking for anything else, without any other distractions, something very beautiful is happening there. What happens is, since your attention has come now to the breath means your life. Now you are with your life. When you are with your life and your mind is in the real place, which is your body, now you don't require so much of energy to live in, right? Before taking your attention to the breath, your attention has been going all over the universe, and you have been trying to live it. You have been trying to live. Now you have found your life, and you are with the life. So there is no trying to live, you are living. When you live, you don't want so much energy, right? There is no need to generate energy to see things, no need to generate energy to hear things, no need to waste your energy in tasting and smelling and having tactile sensations, or having so much of daydreaming and fantasizing thoughts. They are not necessary, and all these things are energy waste. All this energy is conserved now, and you require much less energy. So therefore, when you are with the breath, gradually you will see the energy requirement is less, and hence your breathing also that is required to live is reducing and is getting subtle, right? So when you, what as a mindful person, what you are supposed to do is just one thing, which is the observation. You just keep on observing. You observe, therefore, since you are not choosing to do anything, just observing the natural thing that is happening. So what was long earlier is now gradually shallowing down, is getting subtler. And you take that as an observation. And when Blessed One is saying here, when you do that, you simply observe that I'm breathing in shallow, you're breathing out shallow, right? And then what happens is this subtle breath becomes very subtle, and it becomes even subtler, and it becomes very, very, very thin, right? So when that is happening, your attention is so much heightened. Your attention is so much there in the body, but you will not have breath, or you won't be able to perceive the breath to observe. And Blessed One then says this. He says, after the shallow breath, he says, in this way, he disciplines himself, feeling the body, feeling the whole body. I shall breathe in. Feeling the whole body, I shall breathe out. Right? So when the breath has become subtle, very subtle, and the subtlest breath is not there, but you know you are breathing in because your attention is so much into the body now. Through the breath, through the air, your mind is in the body. Because why I'm saying is your mind is in the body through the air. Air is something, when it goes to the body, it activates the entire physicality of the body. Anything happening in our body is happening because of air. If air is not there, we are no longer there. Our life is with air. So when air goes in, everything else gets activated. So since everything gets activated with air, if our mind is going with air, our mind will be in the body. And when air becomes subtler, you cannot perceive, mind has gone into the body, and you don't see now air because it is happening. You are not going with the air, mind is already in the body. So therefore, he says, since your mind is going into the body, you will be feeling the whole body, right? So there are certain preliminary things happening before you feel the whole body. Now, I have seen some people, when they are practicing, when they are sitting, some people are scratching their face, right? Some people are just shaking a bit. That is because those are the signs. You feel that ants are crawling in the body, or you feel some worms are around your nostrils, right? So that means your mind has gone to your body, and you are able to see the minute things, very small things, very tiny things, tiny vibrations, tiny shocks that you have in the body. This biochemical process that is happening, you are able to observe. And those are the initial signs. But with these initial signs, if you keep on observing the shallowing breath, then you will feel the same thing in much larger scale in the whole body, right? So that is when you feel the whole body, you don't cry asking for breath now. You don't have the breath. Breath is so subtle. You are now so disciplined, right? And some people translate that as training. There is no need to train now. Your mind has come to the body. You have already trained. Now you are so disciplined to observe that without your object, main object that you have selected. And using that vehicle, your attention is in the body. You are disciplined to observe the body as it is. You feel the whole body and you observe the whole body, and you know breathing is also happening at the same time, right? And if you keep on doing that, and it further goes, and the Blessed One says, after that, feeling the whole body, I shall breathe in, whole body, I shall breathe out. Thus he disciplines himself with the bodily activities calmed, he shall breathe in. Thus he disciplines himself with the bodily activities calmed, he shall breathe out. Thus he disciplines himself, right? So it goes further. Even when you feel these type of shocks and these type of vibrations, these type of sensations that are happening in the whole body, you may feel it like, you may have seen sometimes when water is falling, when rain is falling onto a pond, the whole body, some bubbles are coming. Like that, you may feel the whole body. Or you may have seen water boiling, right? So when water is boiling, it's just bubbling up. So like that, you might feel the whole body. That is just one example. So there are many ways that you may feel your whole body. So when you see this, most of the people think there is something wrong, and they go and see the doctor and they say, I feel so much of vibrations and shocks that are happening in my body, and is there anything wrong? So they check everything and say there is nothing wrong, but still you feel that the whole body is shaking, right? So that is because the attention is in the body. So after going to doctors 3-4 times, you still continue your practice, and since you continue the practice, you get used to this. When you get used to this, without being scared, then your bodily activities gets calmed down, right? These vibrations are there, and it is not a novelty for you now, because it's a novelty only. You are so afraid and so shocked and talk about it everywhere with the doctors and all that. Now it is not happening. You are used to it. You continue your practice, and those bodily activities calms down, and your mind is more and more as it has gone from the breath. Your mind is also now going away, getting away from the bodily activities. Body becomes more and more calmer, right? So that is what he is saying. You breathe in, disciplining yourself, calming the bodily activities. You don't intentionally do anything with your breath, or you don't intentionally either to stop or or to activate the feeling of the whole body. You have just observed whatever that has been happening. Initially, it may not be easier, as I'm saying here. There may have certain reactions when these things are happening, and that is why we have discussion. So, but still you continue the practice, because you have not had these things when you live your normal life. You have started seeing this only when you practice. So you have some understanding. This is something coming out of the practice. So therefore, because of that understanding, and you just keep on practicing. right? So when you keep on practicing, finally what happens is you master your body. This is the mastering of the body. These things are happening whether you like it or not. They are there all the time. There is no time that these things are not happening. But only thing is our attention has not been sharp enough to see what actually is happening in the body. Now, once you see what is actually happening in the body, and not only just you see it, and you keep on doing it and over again, when you keep on doing it over and over again, you get used to it. Once you get used to it, and then you start getting familiar with the bodily activities, and as a result, bodily activities calms down. When bodily activities calms down, then only the other side starts. What is the other side? The mind starts. Mind will be activating more only when the bodily activities are calm. So therefore, the Blessed One says, when the bodily activities is calming, you just discipline yourself. That discipline is very important to get the mind side or mind aspect open, right? So that is what I want to discuss today. And in the next session, when the Blessed One is explaining observation of the body in the 4 foundations of mindfulness, it is not just the sitting practice. He has given 14 ways. This is just one way of observing the body, right? So after mastering the body in this manner, Blessed One just not stop there. We just not say some people will be able to go, but he's not recommending in general for everybody, okay, now you're fine, you go and do this, you get to the mind. No, he doesn't do that. He is giving more and more variations to us to observe body more, because we are doing this, especially the sitting practice, in a very restricted environment, right? Doors are closed, empty hut, and eyes shut, and we just observe what is naturally happening. And then if you do this, and when you try to take this skill to our day-to-day activities, it is difficult because it is not a closed environment. So therefore, what the Blessed One does is gradually training how to be calmer or how to be mindful when you come out of this sitting practice. After the sitting practice, when you go to other things, how you maintain your mindfulness. To explain those things, he has 13 other steps. So we will take those other steps, couple of other steps in the next session. So this is the talk for today. So now I would like to ask whether there are any questions or any comments or any experiences that you want to share with us. We can take some time for that today. Or would you like to continue the other part of mindfulness on the body?
Uncle, I had a question.
Yeah.
I find just at the moment I'm busy with work and study and everything, and I'm finding that I'm not having enough time to practice mindfulness. So I've been trying to do it while I'm driving.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if I'm, what I'm doing is I'm concentrating on what I'm feeling, the wheel, and observing what I'm seeing as I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just wondering if there was any advice you could give me for that.
Yeah. I usually don't recommend being mindful while driving. The reason is it works. It works because our activities are very limited and we are in a very comfortable sitting posture. So if you bring the attention gradually to what you are doing, and it will naturally, since we are practicing as well, it will naturally come to the body. When it naturally comes to the body, we get detached from the outside world. That is not a good thing. That has to happen while driving. I have had a very bad experience by trying to be mindful while driving. And I was wondering why the other people are not driving. They are so slow. To see, I have taken whole mind to my body, and I have accelerated to 150 in 100 zone. So then I had to take my mind out of the body and then just drive naturally. So therefore, being mindful while driving can be done and it works, but may be a bit dangerous. But if you want to be mindful while driving, only thing you do is you keep labeling and make it gross. Don't make it so subtle when you bringing the attention to the touching things, and then the attention to the posture is bringing attention too much to the body in that moving situation, fast situation. So only thing you can do is you can keep on, if you are moving, you can keep on saying driving, 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 or if you stop, say stopping, stopping, stopping. Keep on saying or labeling what you do. That is also sort of mindfulness, and ensure that you don't come into the mind too much. Does it make sense?
It does. Thank you, Uncle.
I will give an alternative instead, and there will have a lot of instances where when you walk, right? When you walk, try to be mindful of the walking posture, since you don't have time. When you are walking from one class to the other, or when you are walking from office to somewhere, or when you walk, get down from the car and walk, try to be mindful to the walking posture. And that way you can ensure that you do some practice during this busy time.
That's very helpful. Thank you,
Right,
Uncle.
right. And if you don't want to talk, you can send me a chat. So without if you want to be anonymous, I will hide your name. I'll read out the question. We have a few more minutes, so.
Hello, Uncle. It's Hansika here.
Hi, Hansika.
Hi, Uncle. I have a question. So I didn't do the walking meditation today because I was feeling very sick. So I was doing the sitting meditation all throughout.
Yeah.
And so I was feeling very quite sick all day today, and was doing that. And I felt like when I was in the sitting meditation, was focusing on my body. It almost like that feeling didn't exist. Is that normal, or?
What do you mean that feeling didn't exist?
That nauseating feeling that I've been feeling all day. So I've been constant. I've been trying to focus. I focused on my breath, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on the feeling that I'm having instead, like a focal point. It's almost like that what I've been feeling all day disappeared. Is that I'm like, okay, is this a mental thing then,
Yeah, 100% correct. This is why the Blessed One says, there is no time that you cannot be mindful, especially when you are sick. You have plenty of objects to play with, plenty of sensations to be mindful of. Because people think to be mindful, you should be full enough, you should be healthy enough, you should be rich enough. You should have all these conditions, then only you can be mindful. No. You should be able to practice mindfulness irrespective of what is going on. Right? So, one reason is all these are events that are happening in our life. So, if the mindfulness is a way of living, we should be able to mindful in all these events. And the other reason is, in each of these events, there is a different message that we can pick up, as Hansika has just mentioned. And she has been feeling so sick, so down before practicing the mindfulness. But when she started practicing, and when she wants to be mindful of that horrible thing that she was feeling, it is not there. Right? So it is very clearly, our body is anyway a wound. There is no part, no place in this body which is not aching, which is not having a disease. Right? But what happens is, when these things are slightly out, slightly visible, slightly perceivable, more than the body, our mind becomes sick. Mind becomes afraid of those things. So you try to run away and go and see 100 doctors for a small thing. Instead, you face the devil straight, face to face. Okay, show me your colors, and try to take your attention to the body to see these horrible feelings you are having, horrible sensations you are having. And when you challenge them, they are not there. So that very clearly shows we have a huge mental input to the suffering we have. Suffering is naturally there in the body. But on top of that, our mind reacts to it. Our mind rejects it. Our mind hates it. So that makes the situation worse. What Buddha says is, okay, it will be there. You simply go and try to observe it. Don't try to chase it away. Don't try to unnecessarily love it as well at the same time. You just try to go and observe it. Just see it, how it is, how you feel. It's not there. Well done. So that's really natural. One day, when I went to Melbourne, the person organizing it, he said, Amarnath, I'm having a terrible headache today. I will just drop you and go home and take a Panadol and sleep. I said, that's okay if it is too difficult, because he's a really a newcomer, so I didn't want to force him too much as well. Too difficult, okay, just go. But I will give you an alternative. Just try to wait for the first 2 hours. And if you feel headache and if you can't observe the breath, you just observe the headache. He said, it did not take at least 2 seconds. The headache went away. If you try to really focus and see genuinely, honestly, try to observe how you feel this headache, then headache itself gets shattered. I have met people who have been having headaches for many years. They have focused and kept on focusing. And one day she said, I felt something bursting out of my head, and after that headache never came. And also when I went to Sri Lanka, one day, I don't know whether it's the same Nihal here, I had a small session in one of my friend's house called Nihan. And his sister was also in the program, and his sister was having some physical ailment where she cannot sit for a long time. There is a huge back pain that she gets, and she has been taking medication for that as well. So when I was giving the instructions, I told her, or not told her, told everybody, there will have aches and pains. You just get as close as possible for those aches and pains, just observe. And that person who is having medication, Ayurvedic medication for this ache and pain, she said, I kept it, it became so bad when I was sitting, and it was burning, and it was, I was feeling like a huge fire. But because you told I did not move, I just kept on observing and kept on observing, kept on getting closer and closer. And then it just burst away and went away. So long as our mental input is not there to reject it, there are no pains in our body. Pain is something that we have created. We are the pain to the pain. Put it in the most simplest form. So don't trouble the trouble. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you
Uncle.
for sharing. Okay, and Sanuli wants to say anything or chat anything? All right. So if there are no other comments or questions, and I will suggest we will conclude the session here, and we will be meeting again after 2 weeks, which is 26th, I think. So till then, thank you everybody for participating, and be mindful. Thiruvan Saranai.
Thiruvan Saranai, thank you, Uncle.
Uncle. Thank you.
Thiruvan Saranai.